All right, so today we're going to make a quick little video on the Vermont State Mapping website. You'll find it underneath Vermont Center for Geographic Information, or actually just vcgi.vermont.gov. So I actually have a bookmark. So we'll go right here to the main page. I have also bookmarked the viewer itself that I usually use. So we'll click on here. So you see up here in the screen, vcgi.vermont.gov. You type that in, you'll get there. I'll try to put a link where this video is found. So then when you get here, you're going to go down to Use Map Data. So go ahead and click on Use Map Data. And then you're going to find several different viewers in here. The Vermont Interactive Map Viewer. This is going to be the most powerful one that I use the most. Also in here is the ANR Atlas. It's the Agency of Natural Resources Atlas. It's got some unique information that you're not going to find on the Vermont Interactive Map Viewer. So go ahead and check out through that one. Planning Atlas. This is more for city planning. E911 Viewer. This is good. This actually has some pretty interesting stuff that they're going to use for emergency information. You're going to find, I believe, more trail systems on this. Things like bridges and culverts and all that. So, whatever you think that you might need for figuring things out. And then also there is the Vermont Parcel Viewer. That one's pretty interesting. But for today, I'm going to go right into the Vermont Interactive Map Viewer. So I'm going to launch the viewer right here. My internet is not the fastest, so bear with this. So it comes up as GeoCortex Viewer for HTML5. And you'll find a lot of these viewers are actually done in HTML5. It's basically what they call a markup language. It's just how they take the maps, the base maps, and the geographic information, and it marks up the base maps is pretty much what it does. So what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at the different layers you can put over the base maps. But really quickly, we're going to go in here and we'll take a look at some of the basic functions. I think for today, I'm actually going to go, let's see, we're going to go into probably the Green Mountain State Forest down here somewhere. I'm going to pick an area that maybe a little out of the way, down by Danby. All right, so just so you know, State Forest is down right through here. We'll actually go towards Mount Tabor. All right, so here we go. Once we get down to this level, it's pretty easy to see the geographic features in here. So first of all, I'm going to start off by going through the different base maps. So let's see, we have white background, which is pretty useless for me. Color imagery. This is your standard Google Maps. Although you will notice that there is some hill shade in here, so it's shaded on one side of the hill to give you a good idea of the topography. Color imagery. Just there. Yeah, it's a second one. There's a couple of different ones. Black and white, in case you want black and white for any reason. I don't necessarily use that. I really, really like this one. This is the color infrared. The color infrared. So basically what this one is it will take the deciduous trees that lose their color in the sorry, trees that lose their leaves in the fall, and you're gonna find those over here. It's gonna, you'll see them, they're gonna show up kind of as sticks in there, just like that. And then your coniferous trees are going to be right here. I especially like this for finding where there is going to be cover during the fall season. So right in here, obviously pretty thick, and then right in here is, more open hardwoods. But one thing that I would caution is to think that it's going to always be thick in here and then always open in here, because you're going to find areas, especially around clear cuts, where the hardwoods are actually going to be thicker than these trees, right? Than the coniferous trees, your pines and whatnot. So I wouldn't necessarily think about these being just open and then this is being closed, because as we all know, if we kind of get into a mature hemlock forest or a mature pine forest, that the browse line might be a little bit higher and it actually might be more open in here. sometimes the year. However, what it is going to show you, it is going to show you the edge or an edge. And as we know, deer are creatures of the edge. So that's pretty cool. I use this one a lot. I'll check out a couple more. I'll probably go right back to that one though. All right, so here's another good one, Hillshade. It'll load. Still loading. Still working. This takes a lot of information. This is kind of like the topo that we were on before, and you'll see that there's some pretty good detail, actually beyond just the contour lines, which are going to tell you a little bit more. Like say like look at an area like this is a real transition area. I really like how how it goes from wide contour lines down to really thin contour lines, and especially when there's some features in there. So I imagine this is probably a pretty rocky little slope right in there. All right, so what else we have here? This is like, yeah, your regular topo map. I believe this is probably a USGS topo map. Yep, so yeah, so anything you're gonna see in a regular topo map, you're gonna find in here. All right, so now that we've gone over majority of these, oh, there's Bing Aerial is another one. There's a few different base maps. Go ahead and choose which one you want the most. If you'll notice some of the other color topography, there was trees that were, it was actually taken like say November-ish. I think a lot of times it's like maps that are taken after the leaves are off or before the snow has fallen to really give you a good idea of what's going on. We'll stick with this Bing map here for a minute, I think, if it ever loads up. I don't know, sometimes it takes a little bit. Yeah, here's an interesting area. We'll pop this right here. I've never looked at this before. Hopefully I'm not burning anybody's spot here. This is a big area of national forest in here. So first thing what we can do is, so now that we have checked out the base layers, we can go over and we can check out the base map. We can check out the layers. So that's over here. And you'll see that these things are set up in a descending menu sort of thing. So you're going to have items within. So like if we say we go to, let's see, build our parcels, right? So I can click on parcels, and anything in the parcels are going to show up in here. So we have a couple of different things in the sub menus. We have parcels non-standardized and parcels data status. Let's see. So let's go ahead and start clicking on a few of these things. I don't even know what that is. And one thing to mention here is I am not going to show everything that I know about all this today. Because that'd be a lot. But this is just enough to get you started. So, yeah, I think then I'll just kind of move on. Just know that if you start screwing around with the parcels, that you're going to find the different parcel sets in here, or not parcel sets. You can see property lines. That's an important one. There is another part of the viewer that I would actually, if you're looking for property owners or anything like that, I would check that one out as well. It's actually a different part of the website. It's actually right there, Parcel Vermont. And if you can see that that link right there, or that web address right there, it'll get you right there. But you can get there through the main VCGI page. Some other things we can find in here. Cadastral. This is interesting. So check this out. This is conservation lands, conservation and state forests and state parks. If you see that one all green right there, that is because that is all state forest. And if you look, check it out. Look at all that public land here in Vermont. Who says there's no land to hunt on? Just go and find it. Literally, all of this dark green is land that you own, land that you can hunt on. You got state forest, federal forest, town forest. So go around, pick around through there. All right, so I'll unclick that now. Climate, there's gonna be rainfall things. Another thing we're gonna check out here is elevation. This one's pretty cool. How about areas above 2,500 feet? Hey, look at that. These are all areas above 2,500 feet. You like tracking in the snow? You live in a valley, there's no snow down there? check out these red areas. That might be an interesting thing to go check out sometime, right? Did I call that red? That's pink. All right. We'll unclick that right there. You know, there's just a ton of stuff in here. I'm not going to go through it all. I will go through some. Here is one. I think that this one is probably one of the more important ones that I'll use. So, okay, so I just clicked on Lidar. Okay, so let's click in here. You'll see that the surface aspect Lidar came up first. We're going to go right into Washington County here. Probably State Forest in here somewhere. I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's going to go anywhere. Lincoln. Hey, here we go. Here's some mountains. We'll check out some mountains here. So I just clicked on Lidar, and it's already selected for surface aspect Lidar. This one's interesting. I'll explain it to you when it comes up. If you look at this map, it's not going to tell you anything besides a couple of perhaps important things. You have the where you have the blue, that is going to be north-facing slopes. I believe the green is east-facing, the red is west-facing, and then the yellow is south-facing. All right, so how could that be useful? Maybe on a really chilly morning, and you're going to be looking for does and bucks cruising and all that. How about you go check out where the sun is going to hit first? So maybe in the morning, you want to check out the east or southeast slopes, right? Because that's where it's going to warm up first. You know, maybe you think about that. Maybe you want to think about which way the wind is coming. So if the wind's, if you have a westerly wind, it's going to be blowing it from this way. And see, these are all the slopes that are going to get hit by the westerly wind. So if you have a westerly wind, the east-facing slopes are probably going to be the most protected. So a really windy day, head over to the east-facing slopes. All right, so I don't really use that a ton, but that's an interesting one. So let's go in here and we'll check out the Lidar. So Lidar is something that I have found is probably one of the most important features that I'm going to use on this. So it will go down. I mean, it gets pretty defined. So you'll see in here, it's really starting to clear up good. This is basically the earth beyond the trees. Lidar is ground detecting radar. All right, so still working. Like I've said before, your internet connection is probably going to have something to do with how well or how quickly some of this stuff works for you. But what I like doing is I like, say, coming in here on the Lidar, we'll go in one more time. I like seeing these features in here. I think we should get a little bit more. There we go. So what does this look like right here? Right, so I have steep, nice and level. I'd expect this to be like a crossing area in here, easiest place to get through, or maybe right there. You know, you're a deer hunter, so you're here for a reason. Use what you know, and I'm just giving you the tool here, maybe not necessarily all of my thought processes on this. In these flat areas, often they could be small ponds, or they could also be foundations of houses when we get a little bit closer. These are all houses in here. So what does this look like? And you can see right there. Hey, check it out. Yeah, look, they are little ponds in there. Hey, everybody's got a pond. That's pretty cool. So that slider there. So I really like using that slider. What's this one right here? Slope angle. Looks like the moon. That's a little bit different. I mean, I'm not really sure how much different it is. Let's see if we can get a little more defined in here. And I think, like, basically the darker that it is, the more of a slope there is. I honestly don't see, I don't, you know, functionally, I wouldn't use this much differently. But yeah, these are gonna be the steeper areas right in here. So let's go ahead and, you know, we're not going to unselect LiDAR right now, but what we are going to do is we'll just make sure that's all the way. Oh, here we go. On that. No, bring it right over there. So I can just kind of swing back to that at any time. Let's see. There's some other things in here. I'm not going to use too much more, but all streams, where the streams are, the blue lines. I like checking out the blue lines. Utilities, transportation. I mean, honestly, if you are smart about the stuff, you can find some pretty interesting things in here that maybe could tell you things, right? I don't know, like, hey, where things get slow, speed zones, railroad lines, railroad crossings, public transit. You know, what could you learn from some of these things? Crash data. Oh, that's interesting. Limited access highways in Vermont. Huh. Maybe the deer like to hang out by limited access highways because people don't walk in the woods there. So here, this is really just a very basic overview. I'm not going to get into the other tools in here. If people ask and they want to see more about some of these tools in here, we can go ahead and we can check that out. I certainly would do it. It's easy enough. I do use all of this stuff. One of the big ones that I use is like I like to see how far. Say you know I tracked a deer from like here to over here. I can just make a line and say, hey, listen, that track was 933, no, 909, 95 feet. Double click to finish it up. All right, so total was 1,585 feet. Hey, look, I tracked that buck a quarter of a mile. All right, so I have no idea what any of this stuff is. This is your house here. Don't worry, I'm not hunting out there. I imagine there's no deer out there, so I wouldn't really think too much about all that. There's other things you can do in here. You can set up your own account so you can actually save things. And then there's also things about saving maps. So if you want to see more videos like this, I certainly can do it. Happy to do it. It's easy enough. All right. Thanks for watching.